I am Annie Patrick. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in details. Nasarawa State Police Command has dismissed widespread reports claiming that pupils of St. Peter's Foundation Secondary School, Rukubi in Doma local government area were adopted. In a statement issued by the police public relations officer, Raham Nasil, the command described the viral accounts circulating across social media and some news outlets as false and not reflective of the actual events. According to the statement, the alarm was triggered when students heading to the school field for physical and health education classes sighted armed hunters in the area and fled in panic, mistaking them for kidnappers. Their teachers subsequently escorted them back to the school premises. The First Lady of Nigeria, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has urged women to embrace small beginnings as they pursue financial and digital empowerment. Oluremi made this known at the closing ceremony of the 2025 Renewed Hope Initiative and National Information Technology Development Agency Women ICT Training Empowerment Program. Here's Ubongo Soro with the details.
The First Lady encouraged participants to remain confident in their abilities, stressing that growth often starts with modest steps. She said excellence, consistency, and determination naturally draws opportunities and support. She noted that a total of 607 women have been trained under the program, applauding the 2025 cohort for their dedication and willingness to learn new skills that can transform their lives and communities.
I encourage you to apply the skills you have learned, pursue continuous growth, and mentor other women and girls to embrace opportunities in the digital space.
Highlighting the significant contribution women make in Nigeria's digital space, the Director General, National Information Technology Development Agency (NITDA), Kashifu Abdullahi, reaffirmed President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to building an inclusive digital economy where women are equipped to lead. He revealed that 320 trainees from all 6 geopolitical zones received brand new laptops and 200,000 seed funding, ensuring that they have both the knowledge and the tools to begin their digital journeys.
We must prioritize human capital development, especially for women. When we empower women, we empower families. When we empower families, we empower our communities. When our communities are empowered, we drive national prosperity and inclusivity.
The event ended with widespread optimism as beneficiaries expressed readiness to apply their new skills and contribute to a future where Nigerian women can rise, innovate, and excel in technology. Ubong Usoro for Global Television News. The First Lady encouraged participants.
The Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare has described attempted suicide as a national public health emergency which needs to be looked into with a view to find solutions to end it. The National Secretary of the National Task Force on the Criminalization of the Attempted Suicide, Dr. Ojo Tunde, disclosed this during a sensitization engagement meeting on discrimination of attempted suicide in Nigeria at the National Assembly for the staff. Zarau Nasiru tells us more.
It was a gathering of the staff of the National Assembly, together with non-governmental organizations working on mental health as well as civil society organizations and some from other relevant fields. The National Secretary of the Task Force on Decriminalization of Suicide, Dr. Ojo Tunde, says the aim of the meeting is to interact with staff of the National Assembly to sensitize them on the progress made so far on suicide decriminalization.
If you want to take your life, it is a criminal thing that should be punished. But what the evidence has also shown is that the fear of, if we decriminalize attempted suicide, is going to make it more rampant. It doesn't worth its salt. No evidence has shown that when we decriminalize attempted suicide, that such goes up.
While delivering his speech The clerk to the Committee on Specialty Healthcare of the National Assembly, Todd Yusey, says the sensitization meeting will help the align both in the Senate and National Assembly to get to understand more the content of a bill that's coming up seeking to decriminalize attempted suicide in Nigeria.
He approved that we have this engagement to sensitize staff about a bill that's been drafted that is coming from the executive seeking to decriminalize attempted suicide in Nigeria. So the relevance of this engagement is to help our line staff.
While presenting his paper on suicide, the president of the Association of Psychiatrists, Professor Tewo Obindo in Nigeria says it's high time for Nigeria to decriminalize attempted suicide in the country, as it's among the few countries still criminalizing it.
Amongst the countries around the world, even within the African setting, we are one of the few countries left who is still criminalizing that attempted suicide. We know that one of the drivers for people to want to complete the act is this criminal aspect of the law.
The sensitization program, which was interactive, shed more light on the upcoming bill seeking to decriminalize attempted suicide in Nigeria. Zahra Unasir reporting for Global TV News.
Senator representing Kaduna Central in the 8th Senate, Shehu Sani, has condemned the rising wave of killings across Nigeria and calls for urgent unity and collective action from citizens of all faiths. He made the call at an interfaith summit in Abuja, attended by Christian and Muslim clerics. Topsy Gimba tells us more.
At the gathering, Senator Shehu Sani lamented the persistent attacks claiming lives, especially in northern communities, describing the region as a killing field overrun by armed criminals groups. He said the summit itself sends a clear message urging religious leaders not only to speak frankly among themselves, but also make a strong appeal to government for decisive intervention.
I'm bringing you to speak to the power, to speak to those in the position of leadership and authority. Because the mistake we have always made in this country.
The senator questioned how bandits riding on motorcycles continue to terrorize vulnerable communities without consequence, stressing that Nigeria should not be an exception to global examples where Christians and Muslims coexist peacefully.
But our diversity is a blessing. And I can say this from my own personal experience. The nation of Ethiopia, they were Christians when Nigerians were worshiping idols, and they were Muslims when Nigerians were worshiping idols.
The Archbishop Pentecostal from Plateau State, James Majid, said it is time to confront the truth about the killings. He called on authorities to urgently seek external support, if necessary, to halt the violence.
We as Christians and Muslims have come together to say enough of this.
The chief imam of Kaduna Polytechnic, Mala Abubakar Siddiq, emphasized that Nigeria is already in a wartime situation, urging Christians and Muslims to stand together and defend the nation's unity.
That does not stop us from practicing our own different faiths. A Christian will practice his own, faith in his own Christian way, and the Muslims also. So there must be that, unity in diversity.
Participants at the summit, organized by the Africa Freedom Foundation YARI, AFF, proposed various approaches to end the insecurity bedeviling the country. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
Department of State Services, DSS, has moved leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, to the Nigerian Custodial Center in Sokoto. This follows his conviction and sentencing for terrorism. While delivering justice, Justice James Omotosho of the Federal High Court in Abuja had said the secret police could move Kanu to any correctional facility within the country. On Friday, Kanu's legal consultant Aloy Ejemako announced the relocation of Kanu. Meanwhile, Kebbi State Governor Nasir Idris has demanded explanations from military authorities over the withdrawal of troops from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, MAGA, shortly before dozens of schoolgirls were adopted in Danko Wasago local government area. Idris spoke while receiving the president of the Nigerian Labour Congress, Joe Ajeru, who led a solidarity visit to the state. The governor said he was deeply troubled that security personnel pulled out of the school despite prior intelligence alerts provided by the state government, adding that it has been reported that soldiers left the school around 3 a.m. while the attacker struck less than 45 minutes later. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Wadi Shuaibu, says the welfare of troops fighting banditry and terrorism will remain a top priority under his leadership. He made the pledge during his first operational visit to the headquarters of Operation Fansan Yaman in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital. Sadiat Yakubu has the details.
General Shuaibu, upon arrival, inspected the guard of honor before proceeding into a closed-door meeting with the theater commander and other senior officers, where he received operational briefings and updates on challenges faced by troops in the front line. Addressing troops after the closed-door meeting, the Army Chief assured that the Nigerian Army will tackle the challenges head-on to strengthen ongoing operations and support troops in carrying out their duties effectively. He commended the troops for their efforts in restoring relative peace that allows residents to go about their lawful activities, noting that military service remains a noble profession that requires determination and resilience.
Now I want to encourage you to continue to uphold the core values of the Army or the armed forces, so that we will be able to tackle the myriad of challenges that is confronting Operation Fansan Yamma area of responsibility.
General Shuaibu urged personnel to remain committed to the core values of Nigerian Army and sustain a pressure on bandits and their collaborators until normalcy is restored across the region. Sadia Yakubu, reporting for Global Television News.
Nobel laureate Wole Soyinka has strongly criticized U.S. President Donald Trump's latest comments on Nigeria, describing them as misleading and dangerously insensitive. He warned that Trump's remarks not only distort the nation's security challenges but also risk deepening religious tensions. Global Television's Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndere reports that Soyinka made the remarks during a courtesy visit to Governor Hyacinth Alia at the government house in Makurdi.
According to Wole Soyinka, Trump's labeling of Nigeria as a country of particular concern and his threat of possible military intervention over alleged persecution of Christians failed to reflect the complex realities of Nigerians' insecurity. He said the conflicts in many parts of the country are rooted in criminality, land disputes, governance failures, and socio-economic pressures, not targeted religious persecution, as Trump suggested.
I have some difficulties. I will not accept aid from a madman. That's all I'm doing. And my definition of a madman, a woman for that matter, is one who, when he or she says, I'm helping you, is actually complicating.
In response, Governor Hyacinth Alia dismissed the allegations as inaccurate and harmful. He emphasized that victims of insecurity cut across Christians, Muslims, and traditional worshippers, stressing that violence in Nigeria does not discriminate by religion. Governor Alia maintained that what the country needs is international support grounded in facts, not comment, that could escalate diversion or misrepresent experiences of its citizens.
So I never denied that my people were killed. I still remain very firm that we have bandits, we have terrorists, who come fully organized and destroy people, maim, kill. And the last time we had checked, as I have been consistently again, as I have been religiously stating.
The meeting ended with a joint call for responsible global engagement and a deeper understanding of Nigerian security situation. Both leaders affirmed that the nation's challenges required informed solutions, not oversimplified narratives.
Meanwhile, Benue Governor Hyacinth Alia has explained that his remarks at a function organized by the National Human Rights Commission on October 19, 2025 in Abuja was misunderstood and interpreted. A statement by the Commissioner for Information and Orientation, Dr. Peter Egbodo, explained for the avoidance of doubt. The governor's statement was neither an attempt to downplay the painful realities on ground nor a dismissal of the grief of families who have lost their loved ones. Egbodo further stated that His Excellency is fully aware of the weight of every life lost in Benue State, and he continues to treat the security challenges confronting the state with the urgency and seriousness they demand. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has officially launched a comprehensive voter education and inclusivity campaign ahead of the February 21st, 2026 Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections. Speaking at the opening of the Joint Implementation Meeting in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory Resident Electoral Commissioner Aminu Kashimu Idris, represented by the Administrative Secretary Bimbo Oladujoye, said the meeting signals the official commencement of the Commission's voter education, sensitization, and inclusivity activities for the upcoming poll. Idris said the initiative is designed to ensure a free, credible, inclusive, and informative electoral process for all FCT residents. You're watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, we'll bring you stories in sport, business, and on the foreign scene. Please stay with us. Welcome back. It's good to have you join us on AM News. In business, the House of Representatives has issued a strong warning to government agencies and stakeholders involved in the Naira for crude oil policy, giving them just 7 days to comply with request of sanctions. National Assembly correspondent tells us more. The ad hoc committee investigating the implementation of the policy says it is fed up with what it describes as gross negligence from invited agencies who fail to appear or submit key documents. Chairman of the committee, Boniface Emerengwa, announced the ultimatum after a scheduled investigative hearing collapsed due to the absence of key stakeholders.
We want to look at the various stakeholders, their complaints, their challenges. At this stage, we will request that you turn in your documents if they are available.
The committee revealed that many of the MDAs had ample notice but still ignored requests for documents needed to vet the Naira for crude policy, an initiative with major implications for Nigeria's economy. Emerengwa warned that the committee will not hesitate to invoke full legislative powers on defaulting agencies.
Let it be known to all stakeholders that failure to comply with this extended deadline will attract severe sanction. This committee will not hesitate to invoke its full legislative powers, including but not limited to issuance of summons, public naming, and shaming of non-compliant entities.
The committee, however, extended the submissions deadline to November 22nd, 2025, stressing that this is the last chance for compliance. The investigative hearing has now been postponed to December 2nd, 2025 as final and non-negotiable. From the National Assembly, Aniye Patrick reporting for Global TV News. Nigerian and Turkish business leaders say the relationship between both countries is entering a period where investments, skills, and long-term cooperation matter more than simple buying and selling. They argue that Nigeria's large consumer base, design sector, and manufacturing potential place it in a strong position to benefit from deeper engagements with Turkish companies. Their comments reflect a wider effort by Ankara to expand its presence across Africa. Turkish Trade Minister Ömer Bolat recently noted that trade between Turkey and Africa is aiming to reach $40 billion in 2025, with plans to strengthen partnerships on what he called a fair, equal, and win-win basis. Nigeria's intensified diplomatic effort to secure a seat on the International Maritime Organization Council, banking on its 4-year zero piracy record and ongoing blue economy reforms to gain support ahead of next week's election. The Minister of Marine and Blue Economy, Dr. Adegboyega Oyetola, made a direct appeal to more than 150 delegations during a high-level diplomatic launch at the organization's headquarters in London, framing Nigeria's maritime achievements as central to its Category C bid. Oyetola told ambassadors and maritime policy makers that Nigeria's quest for Category C membership is rooted in measurable contributions to global shipping security and economic stability. And on the foreign scene, lawmakers, religious leaders, United States Department officials and witnesses were divided in their views as the United States House Foreign Affairs Subcommittee on Africa held an open hearing on President Donald Trump's redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged Christian genocide. Following the redesignation, the president threatened that the U.S. States military would enter Nigeria guns ablazing to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. The Chris Smith-led committee had convened the hearing to review the scope of religious persecution in Nigeria, potential policy responses, including targeted sanctions, humanitarian assistance, and collaboration with Nigerian authorities to prevent further violence. Palestinians in northern Gaza neighborhoods are surrounded and running for their lives after Israel's army launched ground invasion into no-go areas under the U.S. brokered ceasefire. 2 Palestinian teenagers have been shot dead by Israeli forces in the Kaf Akwek neighborhood in occupied East Jerusalem as settler and soldier attacks surge in the besieged West Bank. A displaced person has been killed by Israeli soldiers outside the Yellow Line ceasefire demarcation near Khan Yunis as artillery fire and home demolitions continue in southern Gaza. Leaders from the world's largest economies are set to gather in Johannesburg to discuss the most important global economic and political issues. Adikan Michael has the report.
Although it's the 20th meeting of its kind, it's the first summit to ever take place on the African continent. As host, South Africa's choice of the theme Solidarity, Equality, Sustainability speaks to its own history as well as the developmental challenges facing Africa and the global south. South African law enforcement agency says that security measures have been put in place to safeguard delegates from November 21 to 24, which will bring together leaders from the world's major economic powers.
One of the key recommendations of the report is the creation of a permanent international panel on inequality modeled on the IPCC for climate change. This will ensure that inequality continues to be discussed by leaders as an ongoing topic in the G20 and beyond, and including in other multilateral platforms.
Several groups, including climate activists, pro-Kashmiri campaigners, and women's rights groups, are expected to hold protests. Kashmiri activists are opposed to the invitation of the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, whom they accuse of committing crimes against humanity in the occupied Jammu and Kashmir region. Several heads of state have confirmed their participation in the summit, except United States President Donald Trump, who said no American official will attend the summit as he accused South Africa of human rights abuses against the white Afrikaner population. South African government has, however, denied several times allegations of systematic persecution, murder, or confiscation of land targeting white Afrikaner farmers, saying the claims are not substantiated by fact. It has taken nearly 2 decades for the G20 to arrive on African shores and to seek solutions to the challenges Africa faces in the pursuit of progress informed by the principle of African solutions to African problems. And here is an opportunity for Africa to work collectively to deliver the message on the continent priorities and promoting the development agenda of Africa and the Global South. From London, Edikan Michael, reporting for Global TV News.
And in sports, ex-Liverpool forward Sadio Mane has revealed his dream 5-a-side team made up of players he has played alongside, and notably former Liverpool team Mohamed Salah did not make the list. According to Planet Football, Mane shared his selections during an interview with ex-Manchester United defender Rio Fernandez. Chelsea playmaker Cole Palmer has broken a toe in an accident at home, sidelining him for the club's next 3 fixtures against Burnley, Barcelona and Arsenal. The England midfielder had been hearing a return from the groin injury he sustained in September. However, on Friday, head coach Enzo Maresca revealed that Palmer has now suffered an unexpected setback due to the freak incident. And that's it on AM News. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and on StarTimes channel 276. Kindly follow us across all our social media platforms now using at Global TV NG. I am Aniti Patrick. Thank you for being a part of the bulletin.